I've been hiring for niche skills. Unfortunately, I could never understand what niche skill means. It was always a demand-supply issue for me. It was always something that was difficult personally for me to hire from the market. It was sometimes technologies. Way back in 2000, there was a technology called Symbian. People don't even know about it, but I don't know how many sleepless nights I personally had, hiring for Symbian operating system, which Nokia used for barely about 2 years. And then we moved to the Androids and all that. So niche skill is something which is going to be defined in this room, and I'm just so looking forward to it. I am particularly excited to be here for 2 reasons. One, of course, I will get to finally know what niche skill stands for. And secondly, I am in a capacity of asking questions. So at my age and stage, there are very few times that I have not been asked questions. I am given a chance to ask questions. I'm going to ask questions from all the HR veterans here, from all you people, and hear all the wonderful views that all of you guys carry. On that note, I want to introduce you to the 3 eminent HR gurus that we have between us today. And I would start with inviting and introducing to you to Rachel Fitton. She is the... Rachel, please. She's the APAC Talent Acquisition Leader for HP, based out of Singapore. She's English, but she has spent large part of her life in APAC region, right from Hong Kong to Japan to China, where she's even gone to the university in China, so she can speak Chinese. And of course, she's gone to universities in US and UK as well. She carries about a couple of decades of experience behind her. And before working with HP, she was the APAC consulting partner and director, talent acquisition person for Deloitte Consulting. So once again, a round of applause for Rachel. Joining Rachel is Satya Sinha. Satya, can we have you on the stage, please? Thank you. Satya also carries about 2 decades of experience behind him. He is the founder and CEO of Mancer Consulting, one of the big manpower consulting firms who's doing great for in their area of business. Satya's journey has been not only in talent acquisition. I think he's been mentoring, he's been recruiting. Talent acquisition is a part of the passion that he carries. He's done business development, he's done research work. So I'm sure he's going to share a lot of his past experiences with us. And besides being the professional par excellence, he's a highly spiritual person also. So Satya, I'm sure you're using your spirituality to keep calm and manage talent acquisition with full composure. We're going to learn a lot on that aspect also from you. Joining Rachel and Satya, we have our 3rd speaker today. His name is Ritvik Lukose. Ritvik. Can you please give him a big hand? Ritvik is a lawyer turned entrepreneur, the most or one of the rarest combinations that we get in our industry. He is a co-founder and a CEO of a legal and tax consulting firm called Vahura. Ritvik is a National Law School Bangalore graduate, and he started his entrepreneurial journey in 2007. And since then, there is no looking back. He is also a trained mediator, and all 3 of them bring plethora of experience through there, and we will try and give you as much of experience, as much of our personal feel that we've got from the industry than what we have read. So, and I think you can make this session exciting with asking more and more questions, more tricky questions, things that you're dealing with in day in, day out at your workplaces or personally. On that note, I would request Rachel to start the session and share her thoughts.
So I'm part of the vertically challenged presenters group that you'll see today. I'm not the tallest person in the room. I've never grown any taller, so I do apologize. I'm delighted to be here today, by the way. I just said to Asta, thank you very much for inviting me. It's the first time I've been to this conference before, and I'm learning so much today, so thank you very much. And it's an amazing privilege to get to come to conferences. You know, when I look across the room, and I'm reflecting on what I wanted to talk about today, I think there's like 100, 150 of us here today. And then I think if everybody's got an average of 10 years experience, wow, I've got like 1,500 years worth of experience I'm talking to. We have a lot of experience in this room. So that's like, wow, what on earth am I going to talk about to people with a combined level of 1,500 years worth of experience? And I stopped and had to think about it. No, you've got some ideas, Rachel. It's all good. It's good. And I thought what I would talk today about is as being fans of niche recruiting. So what does FAN stand for me? It stands for finding it fun. It means it's being astute about it. And it also means being nimble. So I want to take you a little bit into HP as well. So I think you all know who we are. I really do hope you all know who is HP. And we talk in HP a lot about reinventing, about rethinking what we're doing. And you know, if you think about our printers right now, what you see is not what we were making 20 years ago. We have printers which can come from your pocket, they don't have ink in them, and we can print. It's amazing, the technology. So we have things that are always changing, we're always reinventing, we will need different types of skill sets. We talk about mobile phones. What we say about your mobile phone is in 30 years' time, it's not going to be 30 times more powerful than it is right now. It's going to be 1 billion times more powerful. 1 billion. Can you imagine? Can you imagine playing Candy Crush in 30 years' time? You're going to be Candy Crushed, right? And that makes me think about niche hiring, because at the end of the day, niche hiring has always been here. Now, I know I'm not the oldest person in the room, but I'm one of them. And when I started off recruiting back in 1997, we are the class of 1997, we worked this out before, I started off with doing things like Y2K specialists. Put your hands up if you remember them. I knew we did. So for those of you who are still in kindergarten then, that was when we were looking at people who had to change the system so that when the date went from the 31st of December 1999 to the 1st of January 2000, everything wasn't going to fall out. And throughout my career, there has always been niche hiring. There really has. It's always been there. Whether we talk about big data, we talk about compliance, whatever it is, it's always there. There's always trends. And as Viridian was saying from McKinsey, the trends are going to continue. So they're always going to be there. What is your niche is always going to be there. And how it changes is going to be there. But to me, I think, and when I come to tell you about it, it's fun. This is some of the most exhilarating hiring that you get to do. You know, our accounts payable hiring, always exciting? No. But when you get to do things like, we want to set up a new digital strategy and we want to do this, that, the other, that's really fun, right? You're at the inspirational part of your organization, and it gives you the opportunity to learn where your organization is going, and it gives you the opportunity to test your recruiters, to test yourselves. How can we do better? How do we challenge ourselves? How can we be the best TA function in India? It's fun, niche hiring. So when I hear people say, oh, it's challenging, it's difficult, I think, go for it. Really go for it. Niche hiring is amazingly fun, whatever it looks like. Now, why do I think you need to be astute? We all have limited resources, right? And what is one level of niche hiring is not necessarily another level of niche hiring. So when you think about it, for us in HP, we have 3D printing. Everybody knows we're going into 3D printing, right? It's not a big secret. Now, when we start off last year and I start to see some of these roles coming through, I'm thinking like, there's a lot of fun roles here. And actually, I don't even understand half of them. But I can anticipate that my fun roles in 3D are going to be growing. So what is my niche now is not going to be my niche in 5 years' time. And I hear a lot of people talk about TA needs to get a seat at the table. Well, I tell you, TA needs to own the table. And how do you own the table? It's because you get across and you get onto these curves and you look at what is niche and then you understand it and then you start going to the businesses with it. So when we look at 3D printing, it's worth my time to then go and get my TA function to go and map the market, to develop competitive intelligence so that when we talk to the business, we are in control. We're not just rocking up saying, well, what are we going to do here? But I would say, at the same time, I have call centers. I have call centers in Bangalore, for example, and there from time to time, I may recruit Japanese speakers. Do you know how many Japanese speakers there are for call centers in Bangalore? There's not that many. I really have to tell you, there's really not that many. Is it worth my while to go and develop competitive intelligence, market mapping for that area? No. Is it better for me to send some of that stuff out to agency if I can't get it on Naukri? Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, within niche hiring, you need to be astute. You need to understand, where do I put my resources? Is this going to be my mass market hiring, or is this going to be one-offs? Or am I not going to be very good at it? For example, if you run a TA for an organization of 3,000 people, how often do you recruit chief legal officers? Not very often, right? So, of course, within the new world of LinkedIn and things like that, you can find legal professionals. Everybody can do that. But what you may not be able to do is to categorize or assess, is this a good person? And again, you may think about whether I want to go out externally because I just don't have enough skin in the game. I just don't understand that area as much. What does my N stand for? It stands for being nimble. And I think a lot of the times when we are doing hiring, we put a lot of barriers in front of ourselves to doing great hiring. It's amazing how we do that. And I think when you're looking at niche hiring, whatever you define it as being, you should use it as an opportunity to reinvent how you do your TA piece. So what I see as well is you have to go beyond the norms. So like you think about whether I need to have a strategic campaign from this. Do I need to think about how do I do an augmented approach? Do I need to think about how I do crowdsourcing? Do I need to think about how do we have unconscious bias in our hiring processes? How can I take that out? I recently looked in our call centers and I saw that we had some roles where we need people who are graduates. Actually, we don't need graduates. We need really good people who are good at call center work and they understand our PCs. We didn't need that. So look at how you can make yourself more nimble. Look at how you put your barriers up into finding great people and challenge yourselves. Challenge yourselves to think differently, to create better EVPs, and to do things differently. I think my time is up.
Yeah, just one more minute.
Sorry? I'm sorry, I thought my time was up, and apparently I'm not quite up. Well, I will give back my time to my fellow panelists, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you may have as well. And thank you very much for letting me participate and talk to you all this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And I totally agree. There are a lot of technologies which are going to be obsolete in no time. Analytics was a big deal. Cyber was a big deal 2 years ago, and we're already talking about artificial intelligence and robotics and digital and a whole lot of other stuff. So yeah, and that's going to be the world for us. Let us now hear Satya's views on the niche hiring that we all are grappling with. Satya, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. So when we were invited for this one, and we had a discussion, they wanted me to make it a little funnier because we just are, the next is lunch, so people they want to laugh as well on the niche hiring. So we made it a little funny from the audience perspective. And for what is the definition of the niche hiring is what, as we are discussing, what is niche actually? Refers to a specialist, skills in any particular role. That becomes the niche for us. What is vanilla? Simple words, vanilla with the basic skills. That's what you need for vanilla.
Not an ice cream. Huh?
Yeah, not an ice cream, absolutely. So vanilla is niche. How? Sometimes, no offense meant to any recruiter, the other side of it, when it goes to them, probably it becomes niche. When it comes to the internal recruiter, when it passes to the vendor, niche becomes vanilla. Right? Believe you me, it's a very, very difficult skill. The moment it comes to us, it's vanilla, you will close it. So that's the niche and the vanilla skills for the whole world. This side and the other side of it. And we have seen it quite many times. You remember IAPM, the top 6 colleges, better than IIM? Unfortunately, that was not there. Candidate has to be a female, so that's more difficult for us. Right, and I'm talking about Bihar. Preferably with some disability. Right? And she has to be from OBC, MBC, SC. Singh is the most abused surname we realized after the search. Everybody was Singh, and we were connecting with them, and it's very difficult to ask, are you from this category? But all of them were Singh. 90% of them were Singh. We figured out, by the way, we got the selection. And the contract period was also 11 months. So you have to figure out a HR business partner for Bihar Vikas Mission, based out of Patna, and finding this one. So the vanilla became niche for us. And I'm sure it will be niche for any recruiter sitting in this room. Who is a niche recruiter? Again, a very simple question. I think the recruiter who is able to place any qualified skill candidate suitable for a particular job becomes the niche recruiter. What is a niche role? When the organization is unable to find the right talent for any particular role. Very, very beautiful example, a manufacturing retail company looking for Java professionals. Or an IT company looking for a manufacturing expert. That becomes niche for the other one. Similarly, any Big Four, I got the clue from Anshula, any Big Four looking for a telecom professional, or a telecom giant looking for an auditor from a Big Four. That becomes, vanilla becomes niche. It depends, situation to situation. What is so niche in a particular candidate? Yes, we find that they have a similar pedigree, similar skills, and similar organization. What becomes niche is you will realize that what is changing and what is niche. We all have the skills, most of us have the skills, but what changes I'm seeing in the world, in the current world, is figuring out that. This is a very interesting slide. A person with an IQ is becoming niche. Right? And that's what we discussed in the first meeting when, in the first session, she was talking about the difficulty to find the right talent in India is becoming a challenge. We have a lot of talent, we have a lot of guys, but that's becoming a challenge. The learn part of it, especially the LQ and DQ. People are qualified, but the learning quotient is very, very low. They are very rigid in their thought process. Even if they're great with the learning quotient, the digital quotient, the DQ, why should I be on the Twitter? Why should I be on the Facebook? Why should I be on the Google? I don't need it. I'm an expert. I'm an SME. But going forward, probably, if you don't have a digital quotient, you will be obsolete out of the market. Managed relationship is becoming very, very important. For that, you need EQ. It's difficult to relate with people. Today's date, we only relate to mobile phones very well. We congratulate, we do everything over the phone, but probably we don't pick up the phone and go and wish the person. Or we go and meet and wish the person now. So the EQ is becoming very, very niche. You need to have an EQ to kind of meet with people. SQ, which is a social quotient, we always talk that social quotient is what? You have to go and meet with people. Why? Not to network, but to learn from others. PQ, becoming very, very important in the organization. You don't do politics, please, but manage the politics. If you're unable to manage the politics, believe me, you will probably be perished. And that's the fact of life. The topmost as a niche criteria, you need to have another SQ, which is the spiritual quotient, which is the empathy. If you believe that you have arrived, most of the time we firmly believe in. So in management, we call it a Peter's point. You reach, you grow like this, you reach to that Peter's point, and you fall down. So empathy, that everybody's right, and everybody has a human, plays a very, very important role. That is becoming niche. So for me, that's the niche skills we should all hire for. In case we find that one, please send it to us too. But you need to have that niche skills in you. So any candidate who has all the above quotient is right now a niche candidate for us. So sometimes to find the preferred candidate for your open positions, you have to think small. That's what niche recruiting is all about. I can go on and on, but I see the board there, and it's Ritvik's time. So I can always meet outside and we can always discuss about it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Satya. Ritvik, you can stand with me this time. And very interesting. Thank you for putting our challenges in such an interesting manner. I mean, I know day in, day out, they don't sound half as interesting as Satya made it sound today. And I loved your concept of IQ, EQ, DQ, and SQ, right? Or EQ, or yeah, EQ for that matter. On that, I am looking forward to hearing from Ritvik on the legal and recruitment blend. So let's see what we have from Ritvik.
Thanks, Anshula. Yeah, so just to give you a background, we're a specialist firm that focuses only on legal compliance and tax. So every role that we hire for, whether it's a corporate or law firm, is a niche role in that sense. And this entire discussion reminded me of a story involving a Jewish matchmaker. So like in India, in Jewish tradition, the matchmaker plays an important role. And this matchmaker had a particularly difficult client, a young man who had very high standards. So one day the matchmaker went to him and said, I think I may have found the girl for you. She's very, very beautiful. The young man said, okay, but she must be poor or something else. No. In fact, she's very rich. She comes from, she's an heiress of a banking fortune. Young man is still not impressed. He says, okay, but she must be lazy, a wastrel, not particularly smart. Matchmaker says, no, in fact, she's won a Nobel Prize. Not one, she's won 2 Nobel Prizes. Now the young man's very excited. He's like, great, excellent, let's set the date. Right? I'm in. Matchmaker says, wait a minute, we have half a match. She needs to like you. And this issue is something that we see very often, especially in niche hiring. Because when we're hiring for regular positions, we're very used to being the employer of choice. But when it comes to niche hiring, we may not be as attractive. In the examples that you gave, Satya, right? We may not be as attractive to the ideal talent that we seek. So one of the questions that is maybe good to ask is, how do I become more attractive to the niche talent that I seek? Which usually is a function of 2 things. First, it's about how the role is positioned within the organization. And second is how you're articulating the role to the talent pool that you seek. The second point that I just want to touch upon is an approach that we find works well, especially again for niche. And it comes from the same space, which is the approach that you're using for your more regular hires may not be the approach that will work for niche hires. So essentially the approach is an outside-in approach as opposed to inside-out. So to give you an example from our space, when we mapped all the lateral moves in the in-house legal space, we found that 22% of all lateral hires came from the law firm space, not from other corporates, but from law firms. Now, for most TA professionals, the entire law firm space is either in an unknown or it's a blind spot. And to give you an example, recently Tata Sons have appointed a new global general counsel for the group. He's a senior of mine from law school. He's 41 years old, never worked in a corporate. He's only worked at the large law firms, right? So this is happening right at the top. It's happening at the middle. And without an outside-in approach, a very valuable talent pool can be ignored, right? The other aspect of a kind of outside-in approach is it could have impact on comp and ben, for example. So again, if you're looking at someone who's coming in from a law firm lawyers are consultants to the firm, they're not employees. So from a tax point of view, they are effectively at either a 0 tax structure or a 10% tax structure. So when you're looking at their comp for them to come into your company, there's effectively a 20% cash in hand impact that you may or may not factor in. The same with tenure as well. The tenure tends to be shorter for niche roles because there is only so much experience in the market. So we tend to find, especially in legal and compliance, for example, that the tenure tends to be shorter than, say, in other functions. So we find partners in firms who make partner at about 9-10 years, who will have a lot of transactional experience. But within the corporate structure, if you just look at age, it's very, very much middle management and not really, senior management. So there can be a mismatch there. I just realized that I haven't looked at any slides, so this was the first slide on the, but it's just images, so it doesn't really matter. So, which brings me to my last point, which is really bringing the 3 points together, and it's also a plug for our tribe, which is when hiring for a niche role, we'd always recommend partnering with a specialist, either externally or internally as well. Every organization has specialists in different domains. The partnership, internally or externally, will help bring that outside-in perspective and also help position the role better to your talent pool. So to summarize, you may not be or the role may not be as attractive to niche talent as we may think. The outside-in approach will bring context to understand where talent is coming from and partner with specialists. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritvik. That was insightful, and with that, we come to the end of the speaking part of it, and it's time for you to ask questions. If you have put in your questions on Slido already, we will be able to see it over here. And if you haven't, then you may want to. So the first one is, can we identify the person who's asked this question unless the person wants to be anonymous? Okay, you have? Do you want to really ask this question? Sure. Yeah.
So my point was, when a candidate or an employee has these so-called niche skills, while you're hiring them, they have obnoxious demands on the salary, designation, location, reporting. Basically, they are on cloud 9 already. So how do you handle the egos of these candidates who have the niche skills? Yeah.
Good question.
So how do you go about handling the egos of candidates? Is that? Well, I honestly think that some candidates are not going to be the right candidates for us. At the end of the day, I don't want everybody in our organization to feel that they are so different. We have a way of doing things. We have a HP culture. And it's important that although people do not know what our values maybe are on the first day, that they can understand and that they can fit into our culture. So I'm not running and I'm not looking for people who I need to convert. And at the end of the day, even if they have niche skills, we are looking for the right people. If we get the wrong hire, it's extremely devastating to our business. It's destructive to our morale. It's all of those kind of things. So I would say that first of all is I look for culture. The second thing is, okay, sometimes you do get people who are in demand. They have several offers. At the end of the day, they're grown-ups. They will accept the right offer for them. We will explain what we think we bring to the market. We are number one at what we do. We are in a strong position, but number one doesn't always mean number one. We want people who are hungry. We want people who challenge themselves, that learn, and they want to come on that pathway with us as well. So these are two things. It's looking for the right culture, right mindset, and somebody who brings something else. If all we have to keep on doing is raising offers, then I think we all know. At some point, somebody joins you for money, they leave you for money. Yeah?
Sure, thanks. Yes, Ritvik.
Just from an ego perspective, most lawyers have like the biggest egos, so we face
They qualify
problem.
for niche skills, I heard.
Yeah, but I think sometimes it can also be an information mismatch on both sides. So what we try and do is use information and data to set expectations both with the candidate to say what you expect is not the norm in this industry, to share information and to do that with the client as well, because and that's what I meant by the outside-in approach. To really judge that demand from the perspective of, is that the opportunity cost both for you and for the candidate? And is there a norm that that you should be aware of on both sides?
I think ideally handling the candidate in the right way, because sometimes we also feel, we would have seen multiple times that a candidate throws a lot of attitude, right? But on the other hand, we also throw it back. When that happens, there will always be an ego clash. If we handle it again with empathy and with the right thought process, probably in my experience, I think 99% of the candidates have been converted with the right attitude. Go and meet. What do we want to do? We want to solve everything over the phone. But have you gone inside? And I have multiple experiences where I realized that it was not actually the ego. It was the situation which he was actually going through. Did we really understand the situation? We didn't, but we realized and made a perception that this guy has an attitude. I think go, meet, sit, understand, and probably you will be able to convert anything.
Lovely. We can move to the next question. Does that answer your question? Yes, it does. Okay. The next one coming up is it better to buy or build for niche skills?
Me again. Is it better to buy or build?
Or build.
Wow, that's a difficult question. And I think both things can be right. All things can be right too. So at HP, we talk about having a growth mindset. So that says to us, it's about learning. So we want to hire people who can continuously learn. So we expect our people to have ability to learn so we can build those skills in any case. But at times, you need to be in a market very quickly. I used to work for Deloitte, and we would go into new areas of business very rapidly. Do we know everything about a certain area? Can we leverage that very quickly? No. We need to go and hire partners who've already got an established track record in terms of billing so that we have an anchor hire, and then we can build the team behind it. So I think it's a mixture of things. I don't think there's any set right or wrong thing to do, but it's what's commercially the right thing for your organization.
I second that because I have a very recent example. As a recruitment firm, could I have developed the artificial intelligence? I don't think so. I would have developed it right now. But yes, we invested in a company called Stockroom, where we are coming with a product called Param. And we definitely, so I would say we invested, hence we got that talent. Probably we would not have been able to develop it very soon.
And initially, I think whenever the technologies are new, you actually need to have a person who would, you will have to buy initially, and then you can build gradually, because you have to have a start point somewhere. Unfortunately, we come to an end of our time today for this session, and I would just very quickly, as a parting shot, let you know that I think we build the society and we build what all is getting spoken to or spoken about in this room. So it is our moral responsibility to not only look for the right talent, but to also cultivate, build that right talent. We all are employees as well as much as we are recruiters. So whenever we have teams, we are team leaders or we are mentors, we can actually inculcate that talent, which will qualify for niche talent for all you know at some point in time in life. We have missed out on some of the questions here, and I'm sorry for that, but you do have the speakers and me around. Anything that we can answer for you offline, be happy to do that. Thank you very much for asking those questions. The first two, the second one was anonymous, so I don't know who asked that question. You did. Thank you. Qualify for the goodie bag from Indeed. And look forward to seeing you around today. And all the best to your, back home, whatever you do in life. All the best for that. Thank you very much. Had a lovely time with all you guys. Thank you.